I'm Nick, and in this video we'll be talking about a foul or fishy vaginal odor with discharge and what exactly that means. Well, nearly all the time a foul vaginal odor with discharge will mean that you have some type of infection. And you don't always have to have discharge. You can just have some type of foul or fishy vaginal odor, and this often means you have an infection. Now, the two most common causes of vaginal odor are first, bacterial vaginosis, and secondly, trichomoniasis. A 1997 study published in the journal The Female Patient said that vaginitis, or inflammation of the vagina that can often cause discharge, is the most common reason women visit the gynecologist. And the study stated that bacterial vaginosis is responsible for most of these cases of vaginitis, around 45% of them. The second leading infection is a yeast infection, and it accounts for about 40% of all cases of vaginitis. Now, the key sign to knowing you have bacterial vaginosis is a foul, often fishy, sometimes even cheesy vaginal odor. This is due to some hazardous bacteria that have colonized the vagina and start to cause it to have a bad or foul odor. Bacterial vaginosis can also frequently cause vaginal discharge. This discharge looks thin, is homogeneous in appearance, and is colored white, sometimes a shade of gray, and usually is adherent and sticks to the walls of the vagina. So if you have a foul, especially fishy smelling vaginal odor, and you're also seeing some unusual discharge, you probably have this common condition, bacterial vaginosis. Yes, it's true, trichomoniasis can also cause discharge and a foul, even fishy odor. And we'll talk more about this sexually transmitted disease a little bit later on. A 2005 study published in the journal APMIS looked at bacterial vaginosis and determined what exactly was causing the foul odor. The study found that a chemical known as trimethylamine, we'll abbreviate that as TMA, is responsible for a fishy or foul vaginal odor. Now, fish muscle and human urine contain a non-volatile chemical called trimethylamine oxide, which is very similar to trimethylamine. Now, trimethylamine oxide, TMAO, we'll abbreviate, is present in fish, and when they die and start to decay somewhat, this TMAO gets reduced down into the volatile TMA. And so when you're around some recently killed fish in the market and you notice that fishy smell, what you're smelling is the volatile TMA compound that is being created as the fish sit there and decay somewhat. Now, since the non-volatile TMAO is present in the human body, when it gets into the vagina, women with bacterial vaginosis have specific bacteria that begin to break down the TMAO and transform it into TMA. And the result is the vagina begins to take on a foul, fishy odor. The study compared women who had bacterial vaginosis with women who didn't, and looked at the levels of TMA that were present in the bacterial vaginosis and the no bacterial vaginosis groups of women. The study found that the women with bacterial vaginosis had significantly higher levels of this smelly TMA compound compared to the women who did not have bacterial vaginosis. And the study concluded that the reason these women had so much more of the smelly chemical was due to the pathogenic bacteria that were in their vaginas and transformed the non-volatile, non-odorous TMAO chemical into the fishy smelling TMA chemical. So if you're ever wondering why your vaginal discharge or your vagina seems to smell similar to fish, this is exactly the reason why. A 2011 study published in the Journal of Family Practice said that bacterial vaginosis is the most common reason women experience vaginal discharge. The study stated that about 40 to 50% of all cases where women have vaginal discharge, bacterial vaginosis is the cause. And for women ages 14 to 49, bacterial vaginosis affects about 30% of these women. And that statistic is including the asymptomatic cases of bacterial vaginosis, where of course there are no signs or symptoms to indicate that there is an infection. And the study stated that once a woman has bacterial vaginosis, about 50% of those women will get it again within a year after they use some form of treatment to get rid of it. And some medical professionals even state that bacterial vaginosis recurrence rates can be as high as 70 to 80%. So in conclusion, the most likely cause of your foul vaginal odor is this very common condition known as bacterial vaginosis. However, if you've had a frequent amount of sexual activity, you may have the STD trichomoniasis, and therefore this sexually transmitted disease could actually be the cause of your vaginal odor. The aforementioned 1997 article in the Female Patient stated that trichomoniasis can cause a fishy or foul vaginal odor, and the discharge is different than bacterial vaginosis in most cases, and the color is a yellow or green, and the discharge is frothy, and it is adherent, which means it will stick to the sides of the vaginal wall. So if you have a green or yellow vaginal discharge and you've had some perhaps questionable sexual activity in the past, you may not have bacterial vaginosis, but instead this very common STD trichomoniasis. Well, for more information on this topic, there is an article on Candida Hub that delineates this topic quite well. And if you have some time, you may want to come over and check it out. The link, of course, is just below in the description. And if you're wondering how to get rid of bacterial vaginosis, the most common cause of vaginitis, the article on Candida Hub about this topic will talk to you about a 3-day permanent solution for bacterial vaginosis that will, unlike prescription antibacterial drugs, get rid of bacterial vaginosis and keep it gone for good, naturally. So if you have some time, you may want to come by and check that out. Okay, hey, thanks for watching. I hope this video answered your questions, and I hope you get better really soon. There's no need for you to continue having to deal with an unusual or foul vaginal odor. Usually this problem is very easily remedied. See ya.